Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today I am bringing you Kakashi's story Lightning in the Frozen Skies Chapter 5 review. Now, if you remember where we left off at the end of Chapter 4, or basically through the entirety of Chapter 4, the Armed Shinobi Alliance had just given their demands to the Hokage Tsunade in regards to having Garyo released from Hizuki Castle. Tsunade made contact with Shikamaru, who is currently on a rotating schedule to guard Hizuki Castle with the other great nations, and basically they had an ultimatum. Either they can release Garyo and save everybody at the Land of Waves, including Kakashi and Might Guy, or they cannot comply with terrorist demands and basically have everybody in the entire airship die. Alright, so at the beginning of Chapter 5, we have the revelation that not everybody in the Armed Shinobi Alliance are on the airship currently. Some are left on ground and have been speaking with the Hokage in terms of negotiation. Though what we do find out at the beginning of Chapter 5 is that the negotiations coming directly from the airship, at least in this case with Ryo speaking to Tsunade, asking about the status update for Garyo and his release, and he's not too pleased with what Tsunade has to say. Basically, she's like, yo, we have to go through different channels, it's not going to be as easy as what you want, and Ryo is enraged by this and says straight up, look, that's going to take too long. If you do not get Garyo out by noon, we will start killing a passenger every 10 minutes. This is where we flash over to Might Guy and Kakashi, who are still located in the air vent, by the way, and we have this dialogue between the two in which they were like, what are we going to do? If we mess this up, then this whole airship is going to go up in flames, or in this case go down in flames, and we can't afford to risk that. It will be an international incident if any of that occurs. While they're having this conversation, literally out of nowhere with no provocation, Might Guy throws up in the air vent. Okay, and this is heard by everybody in the Armed Alliance, and instantly they start attacking the air vents. They're like, there are people in the air vents, there's probably more shinobi, so they just send icicle shards flying through the air vent. So because of all of this and everything that has happened, Kakashi is like, yo, Might Guy, you're in charge of the pilot house. I need you to get there and get that under control so that we can start implementing a plan. Keep in mind, they haven't discussed an actual plan up until this point, but because Guy threw up in the air vent, there's nothing else that they can do but scramble at this point. So Might Guy, he goes on his way, and Kakashi, while he's in the air vent, keep this in mind, he's in an air vent, there's not a lot of space to move around at all. He displays a new jutsu that we've seen in Boruto. If you were watching the Boruto anime, it's his purple lightning. This is where we get the first demonstration of purple lightning. Keep in mind, it's not animated, but nonetheless we see it for the first time. He does it in an air vent to just evaporate all of the icicle shards that are there, and then right after that he drops down into the washroom, because keep in mind he's in the air vent, and air vents lead all over the airship itself. So he drops down into the washroom and he lands on top of a person who was apparently hiding, and lo and behold, who is it that he lands on top of? None other than the woman that he was infatuated with at the beginning of this novel. We still have no name for this woman, but nonetheless, he lands on top of her. She begins to scream. He silenced her by covering her mouth and was like, yo, look, I'm a Konoha Shinobi. You don't need to be afraid. It's just me. It's Kakashi. And so he's talking with her, and they're having this dialogue between each other, and he was like, oh, and he's telling her things, but it's like he's telling her things about what's going on, but it's kind of like she's leading the conversation in order for him to get, like, not more information, but basically you can tell that she knows more about what's going on than what Kakashi is telling her. And you can assume that it's because, you know, Ryo is projecting his voice over the entire airship, so technically she should be allowed to hear about everything that's going on, but still, nonetheless, you can tell that there was one point in the chapter where Kakashi tells this woman they want us to release their leader from the prison, and she's like, just release him then. And I guess that's a normal response for someone whose life is in danger. Just give them what they want so this can all be over. But you would have to have read the chapter to realize that it's not presented in that way. It's kind of like, I'm not just saying that because I want that to save my life. I want that because I believe in that person as well. So I don't believe for a second that this person, this woman who Kakashi has just fallen onto, is who she says she is. Because keep this in mind, Chapter 4, Tsunade had just received the letter with the instructions on where the nobles who the Armed Alliance attacked, they found their location. There's 12 of them who were there. I can't remember correctly, but I think we know from earlier chapters there's about 6 of them on the airship itself. Maybe 4 or 5. Between 4 to 6 of them are on the ship. The other ones are on the ground communicating with Konoha. So 12 in total. We don't have a count for everybody, but I would not be surprised if she is one of them, because why is she alone? For what reason would she have had to have been by herself? Now, she says it's because she went to the bathroom to wash up, which is understandable, but it's a little bit too convenient. I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's a little bit too convenient. Nonetheless, after this, Kakashi summons his ninja hounds, alright? He summons all 8 ninja hounds and he gives them the mission. He's like, yo, I need y'all to go and locate all of the explosive tags that are throughout the airship. Now, keep this in mind. Once he says this, I'm like, yo, she's right there behind you. Like, Kakashi, you can't be this, you're not dumb. You're not dumb, that's what I'm trying to say. Why are you saying the plan in front of this woman? You don't know who she is. And again, he's been infatuated with her since he first saw her. This is obviously a red flag for me, just as the reader, but you know, when it comes to storytelling, sometimes you have to have your main character do stupid stuff in order to move the plot along. Regardless, Kakashi sends his ninja hounds, Pakun and everybody, on their mission to find the explosive tags. This is when he tells her, stay here, you'll be safe, and he goes back up into the air vent in order to take on Ryo and his armed alliance. He goes up into the air vent, he drops down into a different room, and he starts fighting the armed alliance. He's taking them out. He's like, this is cakewalk for him. Like, he's not sweating a bit. But then you have big boy Ryo coming, who's like, look, I'm not going to fight you. I'm just going to give you an ultimatum. So he instantly kills 2 of the hostages just by lifting his hand. That's all he had to do. Kakashi discerns that, hey, he had already put a jutsu on them from the time he gathered them all together, meaning all he has to do is give the signal and they're going to instantly freeze and die. So Ryo's like, look, I'll give you 10 more minutes. All you have to do is surrender yourself. So Kakashi does. Ryo's men get their, like, you know, little bit of revenge on him. They tie him up. Then Ryo comes behind Kakashi, breaks both of his index fingers, like, now you can't escape. You're all mine. So Ryo escorts Kakashi out to where all the hostages are. And at this point in time, his 10 minutes that he had bought them by sacrificing himself are up. So he kills another person. At this point, 3 people have died. Kakashi's hating himself because he's like, it didn't matter if I surrendered myself or not. They were going to die regardless, because Konoha still at this point in time is sticking to their guns of not negotiating with terrorists. So Ryo makes that comment like, if you're not going to negotiate with us, then why am I even keeping y'all alive? There's no reason to. This is where the transmission comes in from Ino, right? Out of nowhere, Ino drops her transmission and starts communicating with Kakashi, links her, Kakashi, and Might Guy all together. And Might Guy, he's back up in the air vent at this point. I guess he didn't do what his mission was supposed to and take over the pilot ship because he's back in the air vent. But what is he supposed to do? He only has one good working leg. Ino is talking with all of them at this point, and Might Guy was like, yo, I'm gonna drop down, I'm gonna take on Ryo by himself. And Kakashi's like, no, don't do that at all. You only have one leg. Not that he can't do it. Well, yes, that he can't do it because he only has one leg. But regardless, they still don't know where the hidden member of the armed alliance is within the hostages. And 2, he explains to Might Guy that, look, there is this jutsu that's already been cast on them. There's nothing that you can do at this point. Regardless, Might Guy has a plan. Leave it to Might Guy. But before we get into the plan, we have to flash back to Ino. Kakashi was like, yo, where's Sai? And I don't know if at this point Sai and Ino were a thing, because, you know, in Boruto, they're married, they have a child or whatever, but I don't know if 2 years after the war, they were a thing. Keep in mind, no foreshadowing at all. None of that whatsoever, but I'm not going to harp on that. He tells Sai to be on standby. Okay, so at this point, I can only assume that Sai is on his way to the Land of Waves with his, you know, beast, ninja beast scroll, and flying towards them as we speak. Might Guy was like, leave it to me. I got everything under control. He sets off an explosion with the ninja tags. I should have mentioned before, Pakun checked in with Kakashi and was like, we collected all the ninja tags. Pakun and the 8 ninja hounds got in contact with Might Guy. Might Guy set up the ninja tags and blew open the worst possible scenario. Blew one of the engines of the airship clean off. This caused a distraction. Ryo and his men, or just his men, had to go and take care of the situation, and they took care of it expedient because Kakashi's face said it all. He was like, yo, I know what your face is. This is Ryo speaking to Kakashi. Ryo says to Kakashi, I can see that you didn't think that we would handle that situation as fast as we did, but we expected something along those lines. How did they expect that exact scenario to happen? Maybe because, Kakashi, there is an inside man and or woman in this case that you spoke the entire plan to in front of them. Like, come on now. Like, this is a woman, you have no idea who they are. You expect that they have an inside man, but you're just casually speaking the plan in front of people. Nonetheless, the hole in the airship is frozen, and this is when shit really hits the fan, because after that whole display of them blowing up the one of the engines in the airship, Might Guy entered the Leaf's blue beast, okay? The handsome gentleman himself. He comes crashing down like a radiant angel upon Ryo and all of the Shinobi alliances, and he's ready to do business, okay? But keep this in mind. As he lands to fight everybody, he is literally crying out in pain because his leg is still jello, okay? He feels all that pain in his shattered leg, to where, look, yeah, he can fight, but he's going to be fighting in pain the entire time, and that leg is completely out of commission. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the chapter. Let me know what you think about Chapter 5 of Kakashi's Story, Lightning in the Frozen Skies. Let me know about your predictions for Chapter 6, so what you think is going to go on. Is Might Guy going to be able to handle fighting an entire armed alliance by himself? What do you think is going to happen? His leg is jello, so, I mean, he's not going to die, clearly. I mean, that's the one thing about reading these novels after Boruto's already come out. You know that really nothing has happened to them. It's not like you're watching Boruto and Kakashi's missing an arm, and you're like, when did he lose an arm? And then you read the novels, and then you understand that he lost an arm. No, Kakashi looks perfectly fine in Boruto. Might Guy looks perfectly fine in Boruto, minus the fact that he has a shattered leg that he can't use. You know that they're alive, so there's nothing extravagant or nothing extraordinary is going to happen in this case. But that is all I have for y'all today. If you made it to the end, go plus ultra and smash that subscribe button. It lets me know you rock with the content that I put out on this channel. Like the video, share the video, comment on the video, all that fancy stuff. And like always, keep it safe and rapid tight. I'm out.